Hey, what's up, everybody? It's been a long time since I've gotten to a Project Wingman reaction, but hey, here we are. This is another one that was put in by Spinrift into my executive producer queue, and this is World on Fire. Seriously, it's been like multiple months, and I loved the last songs I've heard. There's just so many requests to get to over time, so it takes forever to get to them. Some nights I've looked at this one like, I want to get to that, but then I was like too tired to handle like a 5.5 minute one, but I'm doing really well tonight, so without further ado, let's go. Ooh. Sorry, immediately with that texture. I loved that. Okay. Honestly, I didn't expect something quite this serious. Definitely more dissonant than the other songs I've heard. The other ones have been like a lot more proud and like high energy, very major key. This is not that. Organ? I love how punchy that bass is. Just that kick. That's really, like, uncharacteristic. I love that in a sound design standpoint. That's so good. The like minimalism on the drums, especially that percussion is doing just enough. Woo! Ooh. Ooh. That is a poppy snare. That's a very, it's got like a crack to it. Matches really well to that more aggressive kick. There's a lot of harsh tones in this. I don't know if that's just the upload or if it's mixed on purpose to be this, like, sharp. There's a lot of high frequencies cutting through. It feels very consistent though, so it might be on purpose. Probably is. Just because there is still a lot of like bass range with the brass. I'm still processing how like dissonant this is. It's very crunchy, very minor. The other songs I've heard, this is definitely not a happy-go-lucky, let's go, it's time for the final battle feel. This is very... These are the results of war, you know? Still has some very driving energy, obviously. Suppose it's not like depressing, but it still has those consequences like floating above it. Oh, Oh man. Great placement for a like a sub drop. There's more of that like high-end percussion cracking through. It's like a different snare than what was playing earlier. It's a little bit more stick to it, a little bit more rim. Probably fading out from here. Yep. Yeah, that was definitely different from the ones I've had experience with. All right. So Jose Pavli added again with an amazing song. To be real, it's just that difference between the ones I've already been introduced to and this one was so notable. I'm so used to that like flying high energy battle theme, and this felt much more intense. There was a different level of intensity to this one. There were different stakes to this song. This was a song that didn't take me through the concept of, yeah, we can do it no matter what, let's go, time to win, and like bring you through that like high state of mind of like, you're gonna do this. This was, you have one final chance, no exceptions, no excuses, no second chance. You get now, and you only have now. It was a way different stake. That difference of very major keys, very bright and inviting and very high energy versus something that's designed to tear you down a little bit and make you come back to ground, no pun intended, on a flying game. It of course has all that dramatic intensity of all that brass underneath it, but also the like stress of the organ on there, something that sounds a little bit more sinister on top of everything, where that hasn't really been too prevalent before, if at all. Again, it's been a few months since I've heard the last ones, but I don't remember that being in there, and that created a definite shift of tone here, as well as the vocals adding that same kind of dread behind everything, that aggression on the high end, especially for the mix. I'm still not convinced if that's how it's supposed to sound or if it's an unfortunate byproduct of a bad rip or something, but it feels pretty consistent with like every instrument in there kind of sharing the same frequencies. And also, like I mentioned during the reaction, has a lot of that low end still existing in the brass. So I don't think it's a lack of frequencies or a bad rip. I think that's on purpose to feel that extra aggression, that extra punch. The snares, especially that last one, was really cracky. I'm pretty sure that was like a rim shot hit where you hit the edge of the snare and the main skin of the snare at the same time, the head. You just kind of get this really aggressive crack. It's the same snare hit that like basically every metal drummer uses for that exact purpose as well. You want something aggressive that punches through the mix, sounds super angry, and that lends itself well to this because of that aggression. It just makes you really feel like there's more at stake. I can't say that enough. If the prior songs I've heard were triumphing over demons, this is your fight with Lucifer himself. You know, like this is the devil fight. There is so much at stake here. Just focusing really quick on that organ section, that arpeggiating at the beginning, it's pretty simple, but what it does to make it sound that much more tempting, that much more damning, is just interesting. So we're in the key of F minor for this entire song, and what's interesting about this is just doing that little ditty, that's just a straight up on the first four of the F minor key. That's all that is. It's just F, G, A flat, B flat. You just do that a bunch. But when you do the next section following it, you start on G, which is a note up from F, what we were starting on before, but it's down the octave, so you get this relationship of going up but going down at the same time. And the effect this has on the mind is pretty interesting because it's going up. So like in your brain, it should be going up and sounding better. You're also ending this relationship on the white keys, which are whole notes, no flats here.
No soggy bottoms here.
No soggy bottoms.
No soggy.
And that's supposed to feel a little bit brighter, but you're bringing it down an octave. It sounds a bit more ominous in that respect. So you're going up the G to A flat to B flat to the C up above that. So, and it's just, that's the relationship there. And then when it transitions back, it goes up to D flat, goes back down to C, and then to the B flat. So that's where we ended the first section. So when it gets out of this little section down here, right? And it goes to transition back, it stops on that B flat, which is an octave up exactly where you would be ending that first four there. So it marries it perfectly back to that prior expectation. You're going down, but then you go up the octave again, and you get to match those, and it just brings everything up. You're always transferring in or out of one of those octaves without ever feeling like you left the octaves because of how that relationship works. And I love that about this. It's just the perfect recipe for tension. It's a really good approach from Jose's side. Just a beautiful idea there. Just never letting the people feel like there is a resolution to all of that tension. Basically this entire song. And that's just a really good example of how this song does that throughout the whole thing. But that's all I really wanted to say in detail. Just another banger from Jose Pavli. He's becoming one of my like low-key favorite composers as a result of these songs being so well thought out. Just the sheer design of his music is so intriguing, and he never really lets you feel anything else. There's no hope where he doesn't want there to be hope. There's no sadness where it shouldn't be sad. If it should be uplifting, it is. No exceptions. I know that probably sounds a little goofy because that is kind of the point of being a composer, is to make sure those emotions are on lock and you don't have those confusions happening. But there are times where some people will throw in a chord or a transition that just Hi. But there's been a lot of times I've heard composers make songs that just sound like there's one spot where it just doesn't fit and it makes things confusing to the brain. You don't have that good of a relationship with the song itself, and the emotion isn't 100% sold on what it's supposed to be, so it feels less powerful by the end of it. That doesn't happen with Jose's work, and it's beautiful every single time. I think I've said enough really about Jose's work. It's just brilliant, and I know I love hearing his music whenever I do get around to it. It's just unfortunate that it does take me a little too long sometimes to get around to these songs. But of course, if you have any other songs from Jose that you want me to listen to, leave them down in the comments below and I'll do my best as always. I know there's a few others from Spinrift that I have yet to get to that are a few months old, and I do plan to get to those. Of course, they're guaranteed queue. I have to do them eventually. But if you have anything specifically you really want me to get to and they match one of the ones he already has in, that'll make them happen a little bit faster. But until then, thank you all so very much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video and you want to follow for more, you know how to do all that, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye!